Have you ever unearthed a forgotten journal from your adolescence, its pages stained with the ink of feverish dreams, only to recoil in horror at the raw, unpolished soul staring back, like Pandora cracking open her box, unleashing not evils, but the cringing echoes of who you once were? In the dark history of the Reincarnated Villainess, Episode 1, which premiered on October 8, 2025, we plunge into this very abyss, where identity fractures like brittle glass under the weight of past fantasies. Imagine Mary Shelley awakening within the tormented frame of her own Frankenstein's monster, grappling with the hubris of creation, or Napoleon, exiled on St. Helena, forced to relive his conquests not as victor, but as the villain in his enemy's tales. Here, the air thickens with the metallic tang of regret, the whisper of turning pages like a lover's betrayal, and the shadowy promise of redemption or ruin. From the outset, this episode grips like a vice, teasing a narrative arc of self-confrontation in a fantastical world, leaving you breathless, your pulse echoing the protagonist's frantic heartbeat. What secrets lie buried in your own dark history? Watch, and feel the chill of recognition creep up your spine, compelling you to uncover the truths that might shatter everything. In a blur of mundane routine shattered by fate's cruel irony, much like the sudden ambush in Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, where betrayal lurks in the familiar, office worker Konoha Sata stumbles upon her middle school fanfiction, opus, Dark History, a self-indulgent tapestry of romance and magic. Before she can fully process the embarrassment, a vehicular mishap catapults her into that very world, not as the heroic self-insert she idolized, but as Iana Magnolia, the scheming villainess doomed to a grisly end. Building on the series' premise of reincarnation into one's own creation, this episode transitions from prior non-existence as the anime adapts the manga anew, by thrusting Iana into immediate peril, accused of heinous acts against her saintly sister, the true heroine Konoha Magnolia. Feel the courtroom's oppressive heat, the accusatory glares piercing like daggers in a gladiatorial arena. Hear the murmurs swell like a gathering storm. Yet, in a twist that mirrors Oedipus evading his prophesied doom only to hasten it, Iana's partial amnesia of her own plotlines heightens the stakes. She navigates alliances and assassinations with desperate cunning, ending on a cliffhanger that dangles like the sword of Damocles. Will her forgotten words seal her fate? The episode plants seeds of intrigue, leaving you aching to peer into the abyss, to know if survival demands rewriting destiny itself. This premiere advances the overarching narrative with surgical precision, establishing the reincarnation trope while subverting it through meta layers. Konoha isn't just an outsider in a game or novel. She's the godlike author trapped in her flawed scripture, akin to Dante descending into his own inferno, confronting the sins he penned. Key revelations unfold swiftly. Iana's identity erodes after glimpsing the cursed, dark history tome, allowing Konoha's consciousness to flood in like a tidal wave overtaking a sinking ship. Plot twists emerge in her frantic recollections. Death flags like an impending assassination by the stoic butler Soul, who was scripted to adore the heroine but now eyes Iana with enigmatic intent. The pacing is breathless, a whirlwind sprint reminiscent of the chaotic chases in Hitchcock's thrillers, balancing dramatic tension with comedic beats to avoid overload. Yet, cloudy aspects abound. Why does Soul hesitate? Is the mysterious stranger from the Lily Kingdom hinted in synopses a glitch in her story, or a harbinger of deeper chaos? Drawing from the manga and light novel sources, these ambiguities stem from Konoha's adolescent writing flaws, plot holes she left unresolved, like incomplete historical chronicles in ancient texts. The novel clarifies that Soul's loyalty wavers due to Iana's unexpected kindness, a deviation from her scripted cruelty, enriching the animated segment by foreshadowing alliances born from improvisation. Cliffhangers loom large, ending with Soul's blade poised, evoking the suspense of Scheherazade's tales, each survival a story untold, pulling you inexorably forward. Iana/Konoha emerges as a whirlwind of psychological depth, her hidden wounds, the shame of youthful delusions, manifesting in manic internal monologues that twist like thorns in the mind, much like Hamlet's soliloquies revealing inner turmoil. Her choices surprise. Instead of villainous scheming, she opts for empathy, shielding her sister with a protectiveness born from authorial guilt, transforming her from antagonist to reluctant guardian. Soul, the assassin butler, harbors motivations layered like onion skins. His stoic facade cracks with subtle tremors, hinting at unspoken affections that defy the script, consistent yet evolving like a knight in Arthurian legends questioning his oath. The heroine Konoha Magnolia, saintly on the surface, reveals subtle vulnerabilities, her forgiveness a balm that heals old scars. Their dialogues ring true, sharp and transformative, echoing real-life reconciliations after long estrangements. Beyond surface tropes, the episode probes profound questions. What if our escapist fantasies became prisons, forcing us to atone for the moral ambiguities we carry casually inscribed. Power here is illusory, morality a shifting sand. Yana's evil stems from Konoha's immature worldview, mirroring how historical villains like Richard III were vilified in Shakespeare's plays to suit the narrative. Survival clashes with hope versus despair, as Yana wrestles with predestination, her struggles evoking existential dilemmas in Camus' The Myth of Sisyphus. Must she push the boulder of her fate uphill eternally? These manifest in her cringing recollections, a visceral confrontation with self, provoking you to question, are we all villains in our own untold stories? New lore unfurls elegantly, a kingdom of nobility and magic, where cursed tomes erode identities like acid on parchment, complicating the universe with rules of fate and authorship. It enriches the isekai genre, adding metadepth without overwhelming, like expanding Tolkien's Middle-earth with untold appendices. The script is sharp as a rapier's edge, poetic in its absurdity. Lines like Yana's inner pleas for survival carry the weight of ancient oracles, foreshadowing doom while resonating long after, akin to the haunting prophecies in Greek tragedies. Imagine standing in a grand hall, the echo of accusations bouncing off marble walls like thunder. Feel the tension in Soul's terse warnings, each word a loaded gun. Clichés are subverted with wit, impactful and immersive, leaving you whispering the lines to yourself, curiosity ignited. What unsaid horrors lurk in the next exchange? Studio Dean's art direction captivates with fluidity and motion. Yana's exaggerated expressions contort like storm clouds, symbolism abounding. Shadows cloak her villainous past, while golden light bathes the heroine, mirroring moral dichotomies like Caravaggio's chiaroscuro in historical paintings. Colors pulse with emotion, crimson regret, azure hope, shaping impact beyond aesthetics, evoking the visceral pull of Renaissance masterpieces where beauty conceals torment. Hiroaki Sakurai's camera angles swoop like a predator's gaze, tight close-ups amplifying Yana's panic, wide shots composing tension in opulent halls reminiscent of Versailles grandeur. Editing rhythms mirror heartbeat, quick cuts during chases build frenzy, stillness in revelations lets dread simmer, amplifying emotions as if you're ensnared in the frame. The OST haunts like a spectral chorus, motifs crescendoing in peril, burning into memory like Wagner's operatic swells. Silence speaks volumes in confrontations, louder than roars, evoking the pregnant pauses in historical epics where fate hangs unspoken. Yoshino Aoyama's Yana embodies turmoil with timbre trembling like a leaf in wind, intensity capturing her soul's fracture. Makoto Furukawa's soul delivers stoic depth with subtle tremors, each line a revelation. This episode scarred me with wonder, a gut punch of laughter laced with dread. Moments like Yana's identity collapse felt like staring into a mirror shattered by time, evoking the universal ache of regretting youthful follies, much as Proust's Madeline unleashes floods of memory. The pivotal revelation crashes like colliding destinies in a Shakespearean tragedy, shifting paradigms without mercy. Imagine the weight of your own words as chains. Feel the ash of burned bridges on your tongue, the echo of a fading cry in your ears. Probes, what burdens do we carry from our creations? Lingering echoes whisper of hope amid despair, leaving you haunted, compelled to seek answers in the flames. Employing reverse reading, the episode's rapid pacing, potentially a flaw in overwhelming viewers, serves as deliberate chaos, mirroring Yana's disorientation. A stylistic choice enhancing immersion like Joyce's stream of consciousness. Complexity borders opacity, yet this opacity fuels curiosity, not frustration. Animation, while not lavish, prioritizes expressive comedy over spectacle. Watching isn't choice, it's the inevitable unraveling of your own veiled history. Step into the shadows, or forever wonder what monsters you birthed. Have you ever danced on the edge of a bonfire, the flames licking at your heels like forgotten sins rising to claim you, their acrid smoke filling your lungs with the bitter taste of what-ifs and almosts? Much like Joan of Arc at the stake, not burning for heresy but for the audacity of her own visions? In episode 2 of The Dark History of the Reincarnated Villainess, released on October 15, 2025, we delve deeper into this fiery crucible of identity, where the protagonist's adolescent scribbles ignite into real peril, advancing the arc from mere survival to frantic reinvention. Picture yourself in a moonlit forest, the rustle of leaves like whispered accusations, the distant howl echoing your inner turmoil, or at a glittering ball, the swirl of gowns masking daggers drawn in shadow, reminiscent of Cinderella's midnight flight twisted into a desperate bid against fate. This episode ensnares with chaotic energy, blending hilarity and horror in a whirlwind that leaves you gasping, your heart pounding as if you're the one evading the blaze. What horrors from your own dark history might erupt if given form? The suspense coils tight, urging you to witness the unraveling, to quench the burning curiosity before it consumes you whole. From the knife-edge cliffhanger of episode 1, where betrayal loomed like Brutus's shadow over Caesar, Lana, the reincarnated Konoha Satu, hurtles into a forest confrontation, shielding her saintly sister Konoha Konoha from a monstrous assailant born of her own fevered writings, a beastly encounter evoking the primal hunts in ancient myths like Actaeon torn by his hounds. Injured yet resilient, she navigates rescue and respite, only to transition into the opulence of a royal ball, where dances become battlegrounds, partners potential executioners, much like the intricate intrigues of Versailles under Louis XIV, where every step could spell downfall. Feel the silk of gowns brushing your skin, the orchestra's swell drowning your frantic thoughts. Hear the crackle of unforeseen flames that shatter the night. Key events pivot on improvised alliances and cringeworthy revelations from her fanfic, ending in a watery escape that dunks you into unknown depths. This installment propels the narrative forward with breakneck twists, leaving you drenched in anticipation. What deviations from the script will demand her soul next? Dive in, or forever ponder the echoes of that inferno. Episode 2 masterfully accelerates the main narrative, resolving the assassination tease from Episode 1 by transforming Soul from would-be killer to reluctant savior, a revelation that echoes the redemptive turns in tales like Beauty and the Beast, where enmity blooms into uneasy trust. Key twists abound. Iana's intervention against the carnal beast, a wolfman monster from her middle school erotica, laden with embarrassing horny undertones, results in her injury, but also prompts Gino Ford to cancel the hit, though she remains oblivious, heightening paranoia. The pacing is frenetic, a dramatic balance of comedy and tension, akin to a Shakespearean farce laced with peril, compressing action into a royal ball where Iana dances through Chapter 3 of her dark history to avert a quest that would doom her powerless sister. Cliffhangers peak with a sudden fire, symbolizing the old plot's incineration, as Soul carries her to safety, thrusting her into unscripted territory. Cloudy aspects, like Soul's lingering suspicions or the world's mending around her changes. Why does the timeline adapt to mutual threats? Are clarified via the manga, chapters 3 to 4, where these stem from Konoha's incomplete writing. The Beast was a poorly fleshed out rape scenario, now subverted by Iana's agency, and the fire a narrative pivot forcing improvisation. As the novel reveals the story's self-correcting magic ensures villainous peril persists. This researched context illuminates the animation's choices, turning ambiguities into deliberate meta-commentary on flawed authorship. Iana's psychological layers deepen, her hidden wounds, the mortification of her horny, fanfic elements, like the Beast's assault trope, driving surprising choices. She overprotects Konoha, delaying her sister's power awakening in a maternal twist that transforms her from schemer to guardian, consistent yet evolving like Elizabeth Bennet's wit sharpening into resolve. Soul's motivations unfold with tremor. His stoic duty fractures into curiosity, his dialogues shifting from threats to probing questions, hinting at romantic undercurrents that surprise with their tenderness. Konoha, the idealized self-insert, reveals vulnerabilities in her powerlessness, her growth stunted yet poignant, echoing real-life siblings overshadowed by expectations. The episode interrogates power as a double-edged blade, morality blurred in the fog of creation. Iana's sacrifices manifest as self-inflicted scars, questioning if survival demands erasing one's essence, akin to Frankenstein's monster rebelling against his maker's hubris. Hope battles despair in her frantic dances, each twirl a defiance against predestined doom, probing, can we rewrite our moral failings, or do they haunt like ghosts in Hamlet's Elsinore? These resonate in choices that complicate alliances, forcing viewers to confront their own escapist indulgences. New lore enriches the universe. The Dark History tome's influence as a self-correcting entity, where plot holes spawn adaptive threats like the Beast or Fire, complicating reincarnation rules with metamagic that mirrors historical chronicles evolving through retellings, adding chaotic depth without convolution. The script gleams with sharp wit, poetic in its absurdity. Lines like, Soul's vow to uncover Iana's true nature carry foreshadowing weight, resonating like Othello's jealous whispers long after the credits. Imagine the ball's chandel earlit hall, the clink of glasses masking hissed accusations. Feel the electric tension in Iana's cringing monologues, each word a confession booth revelation. Clichés are lampooned impactful and immersive, stirring suspense. What forbidden phrases from her past will next manifest as doom? Studio Dean's art direction embraces budget constraints with fluidity and chaos. Quick cuts during dances evoke a Beyblade spin, symbolism in fiery oranges and shadowy blues mirroring internal turmoil. Shadows engulf the Beast, while pond reflections shatter identities, shaping emotional impact where beauty signifies cringy excess, like the revealing gowns highlighting fanfic wish fulfillment. Hiroaki Sakurai's angles amplify tension. Low shots during the Beast attack heighten vulnerability. Wide compositions at the ball mirror isolation amid crowds, editing rhythms pulsing like a heartbeat. Rapid during escapes, lingering in flusters, to echo character frenzy, as if you're whirling in the dance yourself. The OST haunts as a mischievous specter, crescendos in electric guitar riffs during medieval balls burning into memory like anachronistic anthems in historical dramas. Motifs elevate rescues, while silence in Revelation screams louder, underscoring unspoken attractions. Yoshino Aoyama infuses Iana with tremor and intensity, her timbre quivering like a string about to snap, embodying soul-deep embarrassment. Makoto Furukawa's soul delivers gravelly depth, his intensity softening into intrigue, capturing a butler's fractured loyalty. This episode scorched me with laughter-tinged dread, moments like the beast's assault sparking cringy wonder at our youthful follies, much as Proust's recollections evoke bittersweet pangs. The climax crashes as destinies collide in flames, a breaking point that dunks paradigms into oblivion. Imagine the heat singeing your skin, the splash of cold water shocking your senses. Hear the fading cries amid crackling embers. It echoes universal queries. What if our fantasies turned predatory, demanding sacrifice? These philosophical ripples linger, pulling you deeper. Will you surface, or succumb to the current's pull? Reverse reading reframes the episode's breakneck pacing, a potential flaw in disorientation, as deliberate stylistic mimicry of Chinibu chaos, enhancing thematic immersion like Joyce's fragmented narratives. Complexity veers toward opacity in lore mechanics, yet this opacity fuels metamystery. Animation's meh quality, with static slides and quick cuts, is critiqued as underfunded but appreciated as comedic gold, balancing flaws with inventive charm. Episode 2 excels in chaotic humor and meta-depth, succeeding artistically through subversive tropes and narratively by igniting uncharted paths, strengths in character sparks and thematic fire, weaknesses in occasional visual shortcuts. I personally was struck by its wild abandon, anticipating the blaze ahead. But what if your own embers stirred, not as memory, but as mandate? Watching becomes inevitable, the next leap into your shadowed self. Embrace the heat, or let curiosity char your resolve.